Hi, Nina Zapala here. Welcome in to Sundays, where we have soulful conversations about personality typing with a spiritual understanding. Today I want to talk about a topic that's affecting a lot of people. People are extremely stressed. In fact, they say 85% of Americans right now are stressed out. It's no big surprise. We are living in very chaotic times. There's a lot of fear propaganda. There's chaos, there's violence. And what worked yesterday is not working today because we're changing at such a rapid pace. So one of the things you need to think about is what's going to ground you. And when we're faced with this kind of chaos and fear and unknowing, we usually jump into the chaos and say, okay, I'm going to change it. Well, you can't change chaos, right? You have to kind of jump out of chaos and ground yourself. And then look at the external world, because grounding yourself takes you inside, okay? That's where the chaos stops, if you let it, okay? If you let it, if you ground yourself, right? So I want to speak a little bit more about this and ways that you can utilize your personality type to rediscover yourself in these great times of chaos, unrest, fear, unknowingness. All right, let's talk about it. So first I want to talk about why I don't recommend you change yourself. We often do this because we're taught, be a hitter, be this, do this, become this. And it's off, a lot of times it's from well-meaning parents, or bosses, or even your partner. They're trying to change you from their worldview. That's not your worldview. Okay? So sometimes these changes that you're going to make, if you're listening to all these outside sources, you think are going to work for you because I know, they're the expert. I'm going to listen. That's my elder. That's my parent. I love my spouse. I'm going to listen to them. Or my boss is really smart. He's the guru. So I'm going to go to them. Or you even go to a guru and go how do I do this, And so a lot of times you take yourself out of the equation and you're putting somebody else in the equation. And when that happens, you start living somebody else's story. So I don't want you to change yourself. I want you to find yourself. And in this instance, let's rediscover yourself, right? It's kind of one and the same. The second thing I really believe, and I teach this a lot with my clients, and I'm helping them to realize that, divine intelligence is never random. We are not here randomly. We are here in some capacity to serve. Now, it could be on the world stage or it could be in your own backyard. Whatever. You could be the person that helps stop a car accident and save somebody that's going to go on to greatness. We don't know what our role is, and no role is small, and no one is bigger or better than anyone. So let's start there, okay? So with that knowledge, you know that you're divinely inspired to be here to serve, to change. The Creator implanted in you the spark of creation. So we're here to create. All of us are creators. Divine intelligence also gifted us with our personality types. And I truly believe the types that we have, the specific type, is perfect for our life's purpose. In fact, I believe that so much. I believe your personality type, if you really get to know it, answers some very essential questions in life. Why am I here? What's my purpose? What are my gifts? All of those questions are answered and can be answered by looking within your persona, by looking at your personality type from a healthy perspective. So there's the caveat, right? Because so many of us are so conditioned, like I started off by saying, by the fear and the you're not good enough, the unworthiness. And we've just been fear conditioned, we've been ego conditioned by society to do this, to do that. And I'm telling you, when your world starts toppling, which many people's lives are toppling right now, and it's a good thing, because that toppling, that external change that's pushing on you, your soul and yourself, they're going to push back. And that's where the change comes in. It's very interesting. I say that because I did it. I know it. I went through 7 years of tsunami, 7 years tsunami. It was not easy, but it's now provided me a groundedness, a freedom to be exactly who I am. I am no longer led by the nose, by propaganda, by fear, by what somebody else says. Yes, I still, of course, I'm human. You know, if somebody says something cutting and rude to me, yes, I get hurt. But I also step back now and go, okay, is this something I'm supposed to take on and change? Or is this something that they're reflecting back that they need to handle? Because your personality type is divinely inspired. It is specific to you to help you get through your very specific life struggles, challenges, and pain. It is perfect for you. Perfect. You know? That's the only time I use the word perfect, because it's related to divine. Other than that, I don't use perfect that much, because we are all perfectly imperfect, which is a beautiful place to be. So that's why when we're in these chaotic times, you know, you don't need to step into chaos and change yourself. Because I believe, if you believe what I just said, that we are created by divine design, that you're going to start fighting yourself. Because why would you want to change what the creative galaxies intended you to be? He intended, or she intended, for that life purpose for you. It's specifically yours and only yours. You're one of 7 or 8 billion people now on the planet. That is uniquely yours. I know. You're like a star in the sky. There's only one of you. There's only one of you. So why would you want to change that? So see, when you try to change yourself, you start fighting yourself. So no longer you're not just in chaos, you're in chaos and conflict. You're adding, fuel to the fire. So this is why I want you to step back and really start to understand your personality type. Now, if you don't know your personality type, on the blog, I put some resources for some free tests, and a test that I think is like $50. But that's a place to start. And I will just give you a little side note here. If you're having trouble with your personality type, that's very common. And this is why. Because we were so conditioned, we're so feared out, we're so stressed out and full of anxiety, we don't even know ourselves. We're so disconnected from who we are. And that is very normal in these times. So it's hard to kind of figure out who you are. And sometimes it comes from childhood, where you weren't allowed to be yourself. So you've been masking your personality since, I don't know, the age of 8, the age of 7, the age of 4, I don't know. So sometimes it's really hard. So I do offer sessions for that, where I'll just take you through, and I'll start ask some pretty probing questions. But if you don't know your personality type, none of this stuff's going to work. So go on the blog. If I have their free resources on the blog, or if you want, you can schedule a session. So either way, it's really important that you know that. Because the second thing I want to talk about is why it's so important that you know your personality type. Because your dominant trait, the trait you use the most, and what I prefer to call it, because words have energy, and I don't like the word dominant because it's already unhealthy to me. When something's dominant, it's overwhelming. So I call that trait your essential self, because it's essentially who you are. It reveals so much, and I do believe it answers the questions: who are you? Why am I here? And what's my purpose? That's just one trait. I know. Bingo. There's not a course you need to go through. Just start to look at your traits, really starting to know yourself. Okay? And then you really do want to know your second trait. And that's an auxiliary trait, which I don't like that either. Auxiliary reminds me of weapons, and I don't like that at all. Go get the auxiliary trait, go get the auxiliary weapons. No, no, no. I speak to that as your harmonizing self, because that trait harmonizes and supports your essential self. Now, those two working together, you're locked in step. It's foundational for you to get to your true self. Now, your other traits are just as important, but I'm not going to go in here on this video, but I will tell you that all the traits are interlocking. You have to know them all. You might not use them all the time, but you better know them, because when one trait surfaces and you're like, oh, what's that? That's them. You start outsourcing, like you start bypassing things and saying, oh, that's them. No. You have to know your traits to really know yourself, okay? So secondly, like I said, you really have to know your harmonizing self, okay? And then thirdly, you really have to begin a practice, some kind of spiritual practice, some kind of stillness practice, some kind of beginner's mind practice. And I am writing a book, The Soul's Role in Personality Typing. Don't change yourself, find yourself. And in the book, I go in and I specifically direct you to spiritual practices that are aligned with your personality type. Now, have you and your friend ever taken a master class, or gone to a retreat, or taken a class, something like that? And she's like, oh, isn't this great? I'm learning so much. And you're sitting there going, this is like, I don't even get this. This is like not even resonating with me. It's because you have two different personality types. You learn very differently. What works for one type does not work for another type. This is not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. So you need to have the spiritual tools that work best for you, okay? So those are the three things, and you kind of know this innately. I'm just guiding you back into remembering. That's all I want to be for you. I want to be a guide. I don't want to be your guru. I don't want to, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, find yourself and in 30 days you're going to be whole. That's not who I am. And if that's what you want, not the person for you. Because I believe all of these things that I'm teaching is a lifelong practice. And I believe getting to know yourself is part of your purpose. But once you dive into your personality type, you'll know your purpose. And then you just can keep on refining it and getting wiser. And you have so much knowledge and wisdom to offer to the world. It becomes really exciting. Okay? And then knowing all this stuff, when you're in a chaotic world, keeps you grounded. And here's why. Now, these are my beliefs, okay? So always take what you want, leave the rest. But I believe your personality type never changes. I believe divine design attached a personality type to you, and that's what you have for this life. Now, in another life, it could be totally different. This life, you're assigned a type because it's part of your soul's evolution. It's part of your growth, right? It is part of your true self. That you can't part those. Those two are two. They're two halves to make a whole. You're a human being, okay? The physical and the non-physical. The human and beingness that makes you a whole. Beautiful, organic whole. But knowing this, okay? So if your personality doesn't change, then your traits don't change. Now your traits will evolve, because as soon as you start getting rid of the fear and the ego and letting all those false beliefs go, the baggage that you've been carrying, maybe even since childhood, which most of us do. So you start letting that go, and then you start to see the purity of your traits, okay? And the purity of those traits are characteristically you. They are your essential self. They don't change. They do not change. So there's all these aspects about yourself that are very solid. They're foundational. It's like your foundation. So if you're wandering over here in chaos, I want to get you back in to your personality type. That's where you'll find some stability. Yes, the world will still be chaotic, but you'll know who the hell you are. You'll start making right choices for yourself. You'll start learning, like, no, I'm stepping out of myself. I can see this is uncharacteristically me. I need to step back and reevaluate where my personality traits are getting a little bit out of balance. Am I going to fear? Am I going to an old belief? What is that belief? I need to identify it and get rid of it. Especially if it's making you step out of who you are, away from your true self. Right? So your personality type actually grounds you in a world of chaos. So I don't want you to step into chaos and go, I need to change myself because all this crap's going on. What am I going to do? Oh my God, you get all stressed. Yeah, I understand that. I did it. And things that make you crumble are your health, your relationships, and your finances. I had those and more. In my life. All came tumbling down. That's why I call it my 7-year life tsunami. So I know what I speak of here. Am I 100% right? Oh God, that would be arrogant, and I would never think that. But I do want to teach you what I know, what I learned. And I learned going through these 7 years, I learned how to master personality typing with a spiritual understanding. And I want to teach it to you. Because it's so foundational to everything in your life. And your life becomes a bit easier. Yes, you're still going to be living in a chaotic world. You can't escape Earth School. But you go through it with a knowing, with a presence, with clarity, with confidence and courage. Because your personality type is purified. It's childlike now. You see yourself for who you really are, with all the fear and all the ego. All that's been let go. We work on that. I work you through that. I'll tell you where to find your fears in your trait, and you can identify your fears within your trait. You can. I did it. I know. Right? And then the cool thing is, once you start aligning with that non-physical, that spark of divine in you, that's where the magic and the mystery and the magnificence of you comes together. With that clarity, confidence, and courage, you become unstoppable. You're living your purpose. You're living what divine intelligence created you to be. And I don't care if it's on the world stage. I don't care if it's your own backyard. I don't care if it's you just rescuing dogs. That's a beautiful thing. I don't care what it is. And you shouldn't care either, because once you reach that place of bliss and understanding your life, doesn't matter what you're doing, because you're going to be so damn happy and so connected. You're going to see life so differently. The things that you once thought really matter don't. I know this for me. You know what brings me such great joy is just to be in nature and feel the energy of the magnificence and the glory of the creation of it all. You know, my life has changed so much, and I just really want that for you. I want you to find that when you find that bliss, you're going to find out what's really important to you. What's really important. You know, a friend of mine I know right now, her father is passing before her eyes. And it's been a really, really hard 3 months for her. You know, and I've been text messaging her and supporting her. And one of the things that we talked about is you'll find in your life what's important is the people that love you and the care that you show to people, your kindness, your compassion. That's what matters. Really, that's what matters. So, if you're one of those 85% of Americans that are overwhelmed, you know, and you're full of anxiety, you're jumped into the chaos, stream of chaos, that's easy to do, so easy to do, please go to the blog, check out some free resources, okay? And there's a journal prompt in there too, that I want you to look at It questions, you know, are you in chaos? You know, if you're in chaos, let's back you out of that. Okay. So there's a journal prompt on there to help with that. But I really want you to realize how important your personality type, and not from a career perspective, although that's important, obviously, but I want to broaden your perspective on personality typing into your lifestyle. So it not only covers the career aspect, but it also shows you from a very pure essence who you really are. Then you jump into your career, because you have to know yourself before you need to be a hitter, you're a manager, you're this. Well, let me just figure myself out first. Let's start with me first. Like, I don't want to start you in the career, right? Let's start with you, your essence, your true self, because everything else gets shaped around that. Your career, your life, where you live, how you dress, how you look, how you travel, everything. So it's personality typing, lifestyle personality typing, personality typing with a spiritual understanding is way more broad in scope. Way more broad in scope. So I want you to start shifting your perceptions a little bit on that. What the hell, why not? We're shifting our perceptions on everything else right now, right? Now's the time. But now's the time to do that. So I'm very excited for you all if you're watching this, because, yeah, you're on the forefront of a revolution, because I'm teaching a new theory. So if you're with me on this, you are a seeker. You are revolutionary. You do want to become the best you can be. It's legacy living. So if you're watching this, I understand that that's who you are. I understand that. You don't want the convention anymore. You want to live your life on your terms, in your way. So it can be a big, fat, fun, juicy life, the way we were supposed to live. Okay? So excited. So I hope you found this to be beneficial. I'll put the blog links below. If you want a session, I'll put those links below too. Everything's on the blog. And I really just hope you enjoy these, because I so want this to be, I wish I could teach this in schools, because I would. I think personality typing is that important, and not from a career standpoint only, like I said, but from a lifestyle perspective. You need to incorporate the spiritual, the non-physical with the physical, because it makes the whole of you. Can't live life. You can. It's not going to be the best it can be. You can't live without the spiritual understandings. Life just it doesn't work that way. So I want this for you, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. If you find yourself stepping in chaos, pause, breathe, and know that's the external world. You have control of your internal world. Breathe in. Peace be with you. Peace be with me. Peace be with me. And breathe out. Okay? All for now. Make it a great week. And I'll see you next week. Subscribe. Ding the little bell. And if you think somebody else can use this, do share it. I'd really appreciate it. And I appreciate you. I really do. And let's go start this revolution. Yeah. The world needs it. Bye for now.